In today's solar headlines, President Aquino faces an impeachment complaint over the controversial disbursement acceleration program. That as he leads the inauguration of the Iglesia ni Cristo's Philippine Arena, said to be the world's largest indoor arena. Storm signal number 1 is up over Cagayan and the Batanes group of islands as Typhoon Henry strengthens further as it heads towards the extreme north and Taiwan. And the Foreign Affairs Department raises alert level 4 in the Gaza Strip as tensions escalate between Israelis and Palestinian militant group Hamas. Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez and you're watching Solar Newsday. For our top story today, President Aquino led the proclamation rally of the Administration Coalition, also known as Team Pinoy, at the historic Plaza Miranda yesterday. The rally was attended by an estimated 8,000 to 9,000 people. The president said his administration's reforms will only continue if all 12 Liberal Party vets are elected. President Aquino again took a swipe at their opponents, some of whom he says are allies of his predecessor. Team Pinoy is holding its first out-of-town campaign in Batangas. AC Nichols is there to give us the latest. Go ahead, AC.
Good afternoon, Mai. After its proclamation rally in Plaza Miranda yesterday, the Liberal Party moved its campaign outside Metro Manila. LP's first stop is Batangas City, the capital city of the province of Batangas, which is a vote-rich province with roughly around 1.3 million voters in the 2010 election. The 12 administration senatorial candidates are expected to join today's sortie. However, we have not received official word if all candidates will be present. President Benigno Aquino will not be joining his handpicked candidates here in Batangas. We are expecting the arrival of Team Pinoy at the provincial capital, where they will be welcomed by local officials led by Batangas Governor Vilma Santos. Team Pinoy will hold a campaign rally at the Batangas Provincial Auditorium, which will be followed by a motorcade to Lipa City. Mai?
Thank you, AC. That was AC Nichols reporting on the line from Batangas. The United Nationalist Alliance took advantage of its proclamation rally in Cebu City yesterday to criticize the administration. Vice President Jejomar Binay slammed supposed pretenders in the Liberal Party senatorial slate, saying the same people opposed President Aquino back in 2010. Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile also took a swipe at the administration for passing the controversial sin tax reform and reproductive health laws. All 9 exclusive UNA senatorial vets were present in the event, while guest candidates Grace Poe Llamanzares and Senator Loren Legarda sent representatives. Senator Francis Escudero failed to send a representative, prompting UNA to exclude him and his campaign posters from the venue. The United Nationalist Alliance takes its campaign to Bohol following yesterday's absence of 3 guest candidates. Vice President Jejomar Binay says there is a possibility they will now be removed from UNA's slate. Camille Elemia is reporting live from Bohol to tell us more about this. Go ahead, Camille.
Yes, Mai. Vice President Jejomar Binay says there is a possibility that the 3 guest candidates, Senators Loren Legarda and Francis Escudero and Grace Poe Llamanzares, will be dropped from the UNA slate if the coalition will be put in a bad position. This started after Senator Francis Escudero failed to send a representative to UNA's proclamation rally yesterday. Binay also admits that UNA has indeed decided to exclude the campaign materials of Escudero from the venue yesterday. Binay and former President Joseph Estrada did not endorse Escudero on stage yesterday, with Estrada even saying he would not publicly endorse someone who will be a liability to the country. Binay, however, says it is still too early to decide, as the 3 guest candidates have committed to attending some of their sorties. Some UNA senatorial candidates, however, share Binay's sentiment. Former Senator Richard Gordon and Zambales Representative Mitos Magsaysay say the public should just decide on Escudero's political moves. Gordon says, though, the country needs a leader who takes sides, not just someone who stays in the middle. Magsaysay, for her part, says Una's non-inclusion of Escudero serves as an initial reaction of the coalition. She also says Una will not be weakened because of Escudero's absence. Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, meanwhile, is less worked up on the issue. Enrile says he'd personally want to campaign for the three as Legarda, Poe, and Escudero are close to him. Mai from Cebu Una is now at Loon Bohol to conduct a rally, after which they will proceed to Tagbilaran City and they will conduct another rally there. Mai, present here now are the 9 exclusive senatorial candidates of Una, as well as 2 of their 3 kings, Vice President Jejomar Binay and Senate President Enrile. Mai?
Commission on Elections Chairman Sixto Brillantes warns candidates they only have 3 days left to correct campaign violations. Brillantes says although the first day of the campaign period went relatively fine, he says he himself saw many violations in the new campaign rules. But he remains optimistic that in the next few days, candidates will be more reasonable. The MMDA was also able to collect bags full of illegal campaign paraphernalia torn down from EDSA.
Wala naman akong 10 million eh. So, hindi, de-deposit natin pero kailangan magkasundo. Under negotiations pa. Antayin lang natin yung mangyayari ngayon pag nakuta namin yung report ng technical evaluation.
Malacanang says President Aquino's lower approval rating in the latest Pulse Asia survey may be due to negative events that occurred when the poll was conducted. Presidential spokesman Edwin Lacerda cites the recurring squabbles in the Senate, the controversial Atimonan shooting incident, and the reported higher crime rate that may have influenced survey results. The poll, conducted from January 19 to 30, showed a 12% drop in both Aquino's approval and trust ratings. Other top national officials also posted significantly lower scores in that survey. The National Economic Development Authority sees the country's economic growth to remain at 6 to 7% for this year. The NEDA sees growing sectors to continuously drive the economy, particularly the consumption sector and the services sector led by tourism and BPO. Meantime, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas sees a 3 to 5% inflation rate this year as export remittances and trade are expected to bring in more dollars. The Philippines posted one of the highest growth rates in Asia last year, second only to China. While some expressed hope that Pope Benedict's successor will be a Filipino, some church leaders say an Asian cardinal has a slim chance of becoming the next pontiff. Father Romeo Intengan, former Jesuit Philippine Provincial Superior, explains Catholic Christians in Asia are a minority, except in the Philippines and East Timor. Intengan adds Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle is still considered a junior in the hierarchy, having been appointed to the Archdiocese of Manila only last year. Intengan notes cardinals may find it disquieting should Tagle be elected as Pope, as it will mean a very long reign at the Vatican. Pope Benedict XVI will step down from the papacy on February 28th. Former First Gentleman Mike Arroyo appeared before the Sandigan Bayan this morning to submit a compliance report which details his 7-day trip to Japan and Hong Kong. Arroyo's legal counsel says a bail and travel bond worth 120,000 pesos was paid to authorize Mr. Arroyo's travel. The former First Gentleman went to Japan on February 3rd to meet with Filipino communities there before proceeding to Hong Kong for a business meeting. Mr. Arroyo is facing graft charges at the Sandigan Bayan in connection with the botched NBN ZTE deal and the allegedly anomalous PNP chopper deal. When we come back, the International Olympic Committee recommends the removal of wrestling from the 2020 Olympic Games. More news when we return. Stay with us. Millions of Americans were glued to their TVs to witness U.S. President Barack Obama's State of the Union address, his first since being re-elected to the White House. He earned rounds of applause from Congress for his proposals to address the budget deficit, climate change, terrorism, and international security. Obama has also taken pride in the return of some 34,000 troops from Afghanistan next year, as well as his plan to work with Russia to reduce global nuclear stockpiles. Obama called on lawmakers to place the nation's interest before their parties. In the Vatican, Catholics eagerly await Pope Benedict XVI's first public appearance at St. Peter's Square 2 days after his shocking announcement of his resignation. The Pope is expected to hold his weekly general audience, followed by a Mass for Ash Wednesday, which will be his final Mass before leaving the papacy. Organizers scrambled to switch venues from the Vatican's audience hall to St. Peter's Square to allow hundreds of thousands to see the Pope for his last Eucharistic celebration. The Pope announced his resignation on Monday, citing old age and his deteriorating health. Meantime, in India, a radical Hindu group is shunning Valentine's Day festivities and is condemning those celebrating the holiday. The Shiv Sena has issued a circular against any form of celebration of Valentine's Day, which it says is an indecent form of Western intrusion into the Indian culture. In Lucknow City, students and teachers took to the streets and urged everyone to celebrate Valentine's Day as a family and marriage solidarity day. The International Olympic Committee has recommended the removal of wrestling from the 2020 Olympic Games after evaluating the performance of all 26 sports at the London Games. This means wrestling will have to compete with 7 other sports, including baseball and softball, martial arts, and squash, for one available spot in the 2020 Olympics. The IOC explains the move aims to revamp the Olympics program, saying it was not about what was wrong with the sport, but what was best for the Games. A final decision will be made in September, when the IOC will also choose whether Istanbul, Tokyo, or Madrid will host the 2020 Olympics. David Beckham arrived at the Mestalla Stadium to watch his new team, French club PSG, face Valencia. Beckham watched in the stands as PSG conceded a late goal and had Zlatan Ibrahimovic sent off in added time in a 2-1 win in their Champions League game. He will fly back to Paris with the team for his first training session. He may play for the first time when PSG takes on arch rivals Olympique de Marseille on February 24th. Health news now. A new study showed women who took extra folic acid before and after pregnancy were less likely to have a child with autism. Researchers explained the lack of folic acid was tied to brain and spinal cord defects. They advise women who are planning to have a baby to start taking their daily dose of folic acid and vitamin B. A check on the weather now. Good weather is expected in most parts of the country as no weather disturbance has been spotted in and around Philippine territory. The northeast monsoon will, however, bring light to moderate rains over eastern Luzon and some parts of the Visayas, particularly and also in Cagayan Valley, Aurora, Quezon, the Bicol region, and the Caraga region. Metro Manila and the rest of the country will be partly cloudy with isolated rains. A gale warning is up over the northern and eastern seaboards of Luzon and the eastern seaboard of the Visayas, so fishing boats are advised not to venture out to sea. Today's temperatures in the metro will range from 22 to 32 degrees Celsius. Here's what's happening on the road around the metro. We have on the line Vincent Lizada from the MMDA Metro base. Go ahead, Vincent.